Um, Hello, my name is Pancake. This is for a project for my 8th grade science class. I am making buttermilk pancakes. That's kind of backwards. Um, um, for these buttermilk pancakes, I will be substituting some of the things in this recipe for healthier, organic, macronutrient betterly based, that's horrible, based foods. So the ingredients I have, are buttermilk, flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt, half a stick of butter, vanilla, vegetable oil, and maple syrup. So first, I will be taking out the sugar, the salt, and the maple syrup, because the maple syrup is a lot of extra fat and a lot of extra calories. The sugar is an extra 140 calories and an extra 34 grams of sugar and an extra 37 grams of carbohydrate. The salt is extra sodium that you don't need in the pancakes, that you don't necessarily need in the pancakes. Along with, I'm going to be using unsalted butter instead of regular salted butter. And everything else in the recipe will be substituted for an organic implement of the original item. Okay, first, the butter. You need to warm the butter up, heat it up, melt it, whatever. But we need to do that. Instead of salted butter, I am using unsalted butter, along with taking out the salt entirely in the pancakes, because people get a lot of extra salt than they need necessarily to maintain their daily salt intake. Okay, that's heating up. Okay. So now first, we'll be using these eggs, which are, instead of regular eggs, these are cage-free, vegetarian diet, organic eggs. Can't find the nutrition label. Whatever. So, while the butter is warming up or melting or whatever, I will be beating the eggs. Dark brown, not white. Regular organic eggs. Okay, now that that's done, we will be adding the lot of other things. The buttermilk, melted butter, which we have right here. Flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda. It says to add the salt, but since we're taking out the salt, we won't add that, and vanilla extract. Now, the flour that the original recipe asked for is all-purpose flour. This is just regular all-purpose flour that you get at a convenience store, but I will be using 100% whole wheat flour. That's backwards again. Buttermilk, which is fat-free organic buttermilk, other than regular one, grass-fed. USDA organic. This only has 0.5 grams of fat, which isn't fat-free, but it's pretty close. Pretty close, and only 90 calories. So very low amount. So we'll be adding 2 cups of this. Okay, so buttermilk goes in. Okay, now we'll be adding the melted butter, which I already have right here. Half a stick melted unsalted butter, which has no sodium, and the organic also reduces protein. All the organic things that I'm using increase protein, reduce carbohydrates, reduce fat. No pesticides, stuff like that. Build your muscle. Effects like that really strongly affect the thing. Really strongly affect you, which isn't really helping you because they're just pancakes, but they're not helping you, which is what the other pancakes would do. The butter's in now. Okay, now the flour. Instead of the all-purpose flour, we will be using the whole wheat flour, like I already explained. This whole wheat flour, protein, 4 grams of protein. Protein, as the all-purpose flour only has 3 grams of protein. So this, not only is it organic and whole wheat, is adding protein, which builds muscle, and fat goes down. But the fat, as you see, there are still carbohydrates. So instead of having the fat, you have carbohydrates. So you're still getting the energy you need, but not too much like the other flour and the other non-organic ingredients would give you. Okay, so 2 cups. There's 1 cup, right? Yeah. There's 2 cups all-purpose flour. Now we need to add the sugar, but it says to add the sugar here. But we're taking out the sugar because that's extra sugar that you don't really need in the. We're taking out the sugar because that's extra sugar you need. But it says, I said before that we're taking it out totally, but we're not really taking out totally. So it says to add here 2 tablespoons. So instead, let's add only 1 tablespoon, reducing the sugar, but still to give it a nice taste so people will still eat the pancakes. We should keep it, the sugar in it, but keep it at a minimum. So that it won't harm you. Okay, so now the baking soda and baking powder's in there. Salt, we're going to take that salt out entirely. I already discussed the salt. No sodium, because humans already intake too much sodium. So, good to take out the sodium, especially with the unsalted butter, and no extra salt. So now the vanilla extract, which is here, 365 organic vanilla extract. Okay, so now we'll be doing this again. Okay, so now while this is mixing, the reason we're doing organic proteins, stuff like that, is because proteins and fats, proteins are good for your body. They add, macronutrients for you to build muscle and stuff like that. So these pancakes, like I said, these pancakes won't really help you. They're not like what you should eat every day to keep up a diet, but this is what they don't do is they don't harm you. They don't add things to your body that will harm you, but they don't really add anything that's good for you either. It balances out. It's a good balance of good and bad macronutrients in our pancakes. Okay, so now that the batter's done, we can start putting the pancakes into the fryer, apparently. Well, let's just see. Yeah, so again, we're going to remove the maple syrup. It says to serve with maple syrup, but instead of serving with maple syrup, we're just not going to serve with anything. We're going to leave it plain, because the maple syrup, all it does is harm. It's extra fat. It's extra fat that just stores up, and it has a lot of carbohydrates. It doesn't have very much protein or any fiber. All-purpose flour, again comparing the flours. Again comparing these two, this flour has 4 grams of dietary fiber, while that one has absolutely 0 grams. 0 grams, another good reason. So not only does this give you protein, it gives you the fat you need, and it still tastes good. It gives you fiber too. It gives you fiber. In the regular mix, there would be absolutely no fiber, but in this, 4 grams of fiber that it builds your muscle and gets rid of extra fat and stuff like that. So, that rhymed. Okay. So now, the original recipe tells you to use this. This is vegetable oil to spray on the pan here. Just, for that. But very fatty. This is a very fatty material, or liquid, that this will give you, it's just extra fat that you don't need, and it's not even part of the recipe, so why is it even in there? We don't know. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to replace it with 100% natural, certified organic canola oil. Or PAM. Or PAM to spray on the pan before we put the pancakes on. Okay. Okay, there, we got the PAM on, so now to pour the pancake batter. What? Okay, pour this onto here, gooey pancake-ness. Okay, on there. These are going to be pretty big pancakes. Good. Okay, now it's onto there, and just wait for them to finish cooking. Okay, so now that the pancakes are done, voila. Okay, now that the pancakes are done, I just want to discuss 2 major things that I did. The 2 biggest changes that I made in these pancakes basically was the flour, which I discussed a lot, and something I didn't really discuss was the buttermilk. This is fat-free, 0.5 grams, mentions that, but the regular buttermilk has 8.5 grams, so that's a lot more fat. That in regular buttermilk via the whole fat the no-fat buttermilk. This is the no-fat buttermilk, which, again, a lot of extra fat you don't need in your pancakes.